There comes a point where self-hate stops feeling dramatic and becomes part of your normal thinking. It's not always intense, it's not always emotional, it's just there in the background, quietly shaping the way you see yourself. You know that feeling when you can't even enjoy a moment fully because some part of your mind is already analyzing it. What you should have said differently, why you reacted that way, why you keep repeating the same old patterns, why being better always feels slightly out of reach, no matter how much effort you put in. After a while, you stop questioning that voice. You don't even recognize it as self hate anymore. It just sounds like you, and that's what makes it dangerous. Because it rarely sounds extreme, it's more subtle than that. It sounds like constant correction, constant monitoring, like your mind is standing over your shoulder and evaluating everything in real time. Even when nobody else is judging you, you still are. And the weird part is, a lot of people think this is helping them. Like being hard on yourself is keeping you sharp or disciplined, or it's preventing failure. But if that were true, you would already feel free by now. Instead, what usually happens is the opposite. The more pressure you put on yourself internally, the harder it becomes to move naturally. You hesitate more, you overthink more, and avoid more. You spend so much time mentally preparing to leave that you barely feel present while leaving. And then the mind takes the hesitation and uses against you too. It becomes a loop, not because you're weak, my friend, but because the mind thinks control and self-attack are the same thing. I believe sometimes a lot of self-hate is actually fear disguised as self-improvement, you know? The mind starts creating self-criticism like a form of protection, like staying mentally harsh somehow prevents failure, weakness, or becoming stagnant. But life doesn't really work that way. Nothing grows properly under constant hostility. Not people, not relationships, not even the mind itself. And eventually, you become divided internally. One part of you is trying to experience life, while another part is standing outside the experience, constantly judging it. You're never fully in the moment. You're watching yourself in the moment, evaluating, correcting, comparing. That distance slowly disconnects you from yourself. And honestly, that's where self-hate truly lives. Not in one thought, not in a bad day, but in that constant separation from your own experience. You can't solve self-hate by thinking harder, because the same mind creating the problem is also trying to be a solution. Your mind keeps revisiting the same wounds from different angles, hoping that one more layer of analysis will finally bring relief. You keep trying to trace every reaction back to its origin, every insecurity back to its reason, every difficult emotion back to something that can be explained and solved. You keep trying to solve yourself, like you're some kind of a broken machine. But understanding yourself intellectually doesn't automatically free you. You can be deeply self-aware and still suffer every day, because awareness alone is not enough. The real shift begins when you stop treating every thought as a fact. Most thoughts are reactions, patterns, conditioning. Some came from your childhood or any rejection. Some came from years of comparing yourself to people who were never living your life in the first place. But if you never question those patterns, they start feeling personal or permanent. And in my opinion, they are inconsistent. One day you feel capable, and the next day you feel completely lost. One moment you believe in yourself, and the next moment your mind starts tearing everything apart again. You know, same person, but different state. So which one is the real you? That question matters more than people realize, because thoughts and emotions change constantly. But something in you is still there quietly, noticing all of it. And that part, that awareness, is not attacking you, it's just observing. The suffering begins when every temporary state becomes identity. A bad moment becomes, this is who I am. A mistake becomes, I'll always be this way. And slowly, temporary experiences turn into permanent conclusions. And that's where the weight comes from. But when you create even the smallest amount of distance between yourself and the thought, something starts changing, not dramatically, just quietly. Instead of instantly believing every negative thought, you begin recognizing the pattern behind it. The spiral starts feeling familiar rather than convincing. And that small shift changes everything. That tiny moment of awareness weakens the pattern because self-hate survives through unconscious repetition, not through observation. The moment you start noticing the pattern without fully merging with it, it loses some of its power. At first, it feels strange because the mind is used to extremes, either fully collapsing into negativity and believing every harsh thought or forcing positivity that doesn't even feel genuine. But real healing usually begins somewhere in between. Not love, not hate, just less war. Less treating yourself like a constant project that needs correction. And over time, you start realizing something important. You never needed self-hate in order to grow. It never truly made you stronger. It just made the experience of being alive heavier than it needed to be. A lot of people secretly comparing themselves to an imaginary version of who they think they should already be. More disciplined, more healed, more attractive, more emotionally stable, more successful by now. And every time reality doesn't match that image, they treat it like failure. But we all know that version is not real, is edited. It ignores timing, energy, mental exhaustion, confusion, and being human. You're comparing your actual life to a mentally perfected standard that never truly existed. And anybody would lose that comparison every time. And when you finally see that clarity, something softens internally. You stop viewing every flaw as proof that you're broken. You stop turning mistakes into identity. You begin seeing yourself with more context instead of just judgment. And that's usually when the real change finally starts happening. Not when you hate yourself enough, not when you become perfect, but when you stop treating yourself like an enemy that needs to be controlled all the time. Because eventually you realize something. Peace was never going to come from winning war with yourself. It comes from ending it. Take care of your mind. Don't let your body define your soul. Let your soul define your body. See you soon.